Okay then, hope that went well. I'm of course going to start with a new project. Call it People Counter. And we'll be creating it for Where devices with a blank where activity. And here we go. I'm going to begin with the round activity and create our layout there. And I'm actually going to keep the Hello Real World button, but I'm going to change the text initially to the number 0. And let's see if we can find a nice big suitable text style. Yeah, not quite big enough, I don't think. So let's go into full details and make our own text size. That's 20 SP, so I'm going to change that to 40 SP. There we go. And then I want to add in 2 buttons. So we'll have a reset button at the top. And we'll view fewer properties to change the ID there back to reset button, and the text to reset, and the onClick method to reset as well. And then the other element I want to add in is another button. This one's going to be in the center and the bottom of the screen. And this is going to be the one to increment the counter. So I'll call it +1 button. OnClick is going to be +1. And for the text, I'll just use +1 like that. Okay, so that's the layout for the round activity. I'm going to copy those 3 items in the text view and then paste them into the rectangular layout. But then if we have a look, they won't look quite right because of this vertical layout that we have, the linear layout. So I'm going to change that to a relative layout and get rid of the orientation, and then let's have another look, and you can see that looks much better. So we've now got reset at the top and +1 at the bottom and the number in the middle. Okay, so now over to main-activity.java, and in fact we don't need to do anything here in the onLayout inflated listener. Everything's going to be in our own methods. So let's create first the +1 method. So public void +1. It'll be called by a view. And we're going to need a counter variable. So I'll just call that counter, which is initially 0. And +1, all that's going to do is add 1 to the counter. And then we're going to want to update the label mTextView and set the text to counter, but we're going to need to convert that to a string. Counter. There we go. And then we've got reset, which will simply set the counter back to 0, and then take our text view and once again set the text to counter, or I could obviously just put 0 in there as well. And just before we run that, we will need to set the integers to strings. So we'll use integer.toString for each of those. And there we go. So we'll run that on the round watch first, and then we'll check that it still looks good and works on the rectangular watch. Obviously, this is a relatively simple app compared to the sort of thing that we're used to building, but the point is that we can build pretty much anything we want on the watch that we could also build on the phone. So all of the skills and techniques that you've learned so far in the course, you'll be able to apply to Android Wear as well. So let's take a look. +1, excellent. So I can count as many people as I like there, and then reset, sets it back to 0. So very, very simple. Let's just have a quick check. I'll stop that and run it on the Square watch emulator. And here we go. So again, it looks good. Quick check of functionality and we're good to go. Fantastic, so I hope you enjoyed that one. It should have been fairly straightforward for you. In the next few videos, we're going to dive into some of the more watch-specific features, starting with cards and then looking at lists, voice input, and notifications. So lots to learn. I'll see you at Working with Cards in the next video.